making up for the fact that there are no undergraduate awardees, Kat chose a tie, a dual winnership for this category. And of the first one, she quotes a line, "The Correas don't sniff at Hermione's spirit, nor does this recreation of a mother-daughter sojourn to old haunts." The author shrewdly includes Ito, airport greeter, driver, and relative capable of going thug if need be in the adventure, and effectively builds suspense toward the big reveal of how Herminio met his end. Crisp and compelling. She speaks of New Britain ghosts, and the writer is Jennifer Maritza McCauley. Jennifer?
Short, so can't hear me. I want to thank Madeline Blaze and the Place class because I wrote this piece to them. She did a lot of work editing and so did the class, so thank you. This piece is divided into about 5 sections, and I'm just going to read like a few paragraphs from each, so you guys don't get bored. This is from the section Daddy Ghosts. 3 days after my 18th birthday, Herminio Correa returned to my mother in a dream. My grandfather haunted the Correa family, his ghost returning on the holidays, perhaps a Three Kings Day or Easter Eve. He snapped open Aunt Victoria's pantry door. He slept wheezing beside my mother's footboard until her wedding day. On some choice nights, Herminio would press his blood-wet forehead against Abuela's lips and whisper, "Te culpo, te amo." The Correas don't sniff at his spirit. This is when they go back to New Britain. "Jesus, what happened here?" my mom said. "It's ruined." I didn't think the Connecticut town was ruined. While Pittsburgh was blackened with soot, iron dust, and bold industrialism, New Britain seemed fresh, quaint, picturesque. To me, the corporate buildings were like friendly visitors, not trespassers at all. This is later on. Mom sighed through her nose. All the Puerto Ricans used to be down here. It was wonderful when I was younger. We had lovely shops, so many bodegas. This is the street where my father owned his restaurant. Palomos. They'd turn into a nightclub on Fridays and Saturdays. Everybody would go to Palomos for a sancocho on Tuesday night. Seeing the way this all looks now, it's disheartening. I agreed. As a child, my mother would tell me only good things about Lafayette. The dancing, the cuisine, the panderillas, and poker matches. I always imagined Lafayette as a Puerto Rican magic land, like neighborhoods from the movie The Wonderful Ice Cream Soup. I opened my mouth to comfort my mother, but I couldn't think of anything useful to say. "The Mexicans came in and fucked everything up," Ito said apologetically, as if the Mexicans alone could be blamed for my grandfather's death and the deterioration of the street. "There are turf wars. People are selling hard drugs, soft drugs. Man, I got into a fight with this one cholo cat. Damn, I'll tell you. Made up some lies about me." My cousin told a brief story about a Mexican man who betrayed him. He told the cops he sold weed. This is a small town, so any little crime makes the paper. They had my face on the front page of the New Britain Times. My mom was really ashamed. "That's terrible." My mom shook her head. She sympathized with Ito, but her mind was swimming about in the 1960s. She was trotting down Lafayette in Canary Lace. Mothers were greeting mothers as they bustled home with bagfuls of patatas and plantains. An old man with bent knees and baby-soft hair hollered at a teenage boy, "Oye, a lo menos tú eres joven." She was skipping into her father's restaurant, the air thick with the scent of grinding chicken and peppery hot pork. Her father bellowed into the smoke, "Aye, Sony, when you settle in, get table 4, eh?" He always played the same song in his jukebox at 4 p.m. Some Guayanilla countryman crooned, "Un cigarrillo, un café, para olvidar a mi amor." And this is what happened, the second to last section. I know how my grandfather died. Herminio Correa passed on a Sunday evening, on his favorite day of the week. Each Sunday, the Correas would host a gathering for neighborhood friends and family members. Herminio would cook up large pots of asapo de pollo, a punche, and sticky mofongo. Perhaps a sugar-dusted loaf of pan de agua if he were in the mood. New Britain Boricuas would saunter about the living room, standing with their plates, picking at rice, waving forks as they choked out the new gossip of the week. My mother usually stayed in the kitchen to tend to the food. Now that her brother was off to college and her sister's belly expanded, Mom's job was to sweep up the floors and scrub down the plates. On that particular night, my grandfather was trading stories with Reynaldo, a young policeman with a brusque voice and the shadow of a mustache. Herminio leaned back into the recliner, sitting a skinny man sit, with his legs open and hips angled sideways. He shook his head, tugged his lips downward. He was routinely unhappy, Mom told me. Herminio stuffed his darkness underneath wide grins and warm, savory food. Sometimes my grandparents fought. Herminio's wife, Anna, stood in the corner, her arms folded. My grandfather mouthed, "Look at you, perezoso, lazy ass," to her husband, and then repeated the phrase for friends to hear. Apparently, Herminio didn't give Anna enough attention at another gathering the night before, and she felt embarrassed. Herminio ignored his wife and pointed at the gun fastened to the young man's holster. "Aye, is that loaded?" "Nah, man," Reynaldo smiled. He puffed out his thin chest bones. "But I mean, I've used it, obviously." "No shit," Herminio said, impressed. Reynaldo beamed. He left the River Single Six and handed the gun to my grandfather. "I know you want to look. I saw you." Herminio whistled, weighing the weapon with his hands. "Jesus." My grandmother called out, too loudly over the music. "Herminio, looks like Reynaldo's giving you an idea." My grandfather glowered at Anna, a dark line creasing his forehead. He lifted the single six and pressed the chili steel to his temple. "Oh, like this, you mean? You think this is a good idea?" A few family members clapped and whistled. My 17-year-old mother appeared in the door and a plate of biscuits in her hand. She wandered over to Anna and motioned to her father with her chin. "Why is Papi playing around like that?" She turned to her father. "Oye, Papi, you're not funny. I'm not laughing." Her father smirked. "Hey, your mommy wants me gone. Whatever she goes, eh? You want me gone too, son? You want me to pull the trigger?" My mother bit her teeth. "Whatever, you wouldn't do it, Papi." "Let him do it," my grandmother said. "One less bitch in the world." Then Herminio's head exploded, like dynamite tearing up a melon. Bits of brain and blood splattered my mother's shoes. A chunk of cranium smacked against the wall behind Herminio with a wet thud. Reynaldo lied. The gun was loaded. The room screeched collectively and vacated. Reynaldo, too. He fled to report the incident to the police and save his ass. Anna ran too, somewhere in fear. My mother remained clutching the biscuit tray.